Breaking Point Commander Elena Reyes stood at the observation deck of the Galactic Conclave Station, watching the swirling nebula that served as the backdrop for this diplomatic hub. 7 years of serving as humanity's representative had aged her beyond her 43 years. The weight of constant negotiations, explanations, and defenses of human actions had carved deep lines around her eyes. "Commander, they're ready for you," said Lieutenant Park, her aide. His expression held that familiar mix of resignation and frustration that had become standard for the human diplomatic corps. "Another day, another demand," Elena said, straightening her midnight blue uniform adorned with Earth's emblem, a simple globe encompassed by stars. "What's the restriction of the day?" "They want to limit our colony expansion by 50% and place monitoring systems on all human vessels." Elena's jaw tightened. Of course they do. The grand chamber of the conclave stretched before her as she entered, a massive circular room with seating arranged in tiered rings. The oldest and most powerful species occupied the inner rings, while newer members like humanity were relegated to the outer edges. The symbolism wasn't subtle. High Arbiter Vozkral, a tall, willowy being with iridescent skin that shifted colors with his moods, currently displayed an irritated orange as he called the session to order. Representatives from over 300 species quieted their conversations. "We continue our discussion on human expansion regulations," Vozkral announced, his forearms making precise gestures that activated the central hologram. "The Oversight Committee has determined that human colonization efforts exceed acceptable parameters. Furthermore, human technological development continues to advance at concerning rates." The hologram displayed human colony worlds, research stations, and shipping routes, all highlighted in warning red. "Humans have established 14 new outposts in the past standard cycle," continued Vozkral. "This exceeds the allotted number by 9. "Those are research stations, not military installations," Elena responded, her voice carrying through the chamber. "The agreement specifically permits scientific expansion. Research that inevitably leads to military applications," countered a representative from the Tsol Collective, a hive mind species that had consistently opposed human advancement. "Like the quantum communication network you developed without authorization," added another representative. "Technology we subsequently shared with the conclave," Elena pointed out. "Communications efficiency has improved by 40% across all member worlds." After developing it against regulations, Vozkral's skin pulsed a deeper orange. For the next hour, representatives lined up to voice complaints. Human ships moved too quickly through regulated space. Human trade deals undercut established economies. Human culture was infecting younger species with dangerous ideas of individualism. Elena had heard it all before. 7 years of this. 7 years of Earth holding back, compromising, sharing technology, and still being treated like unwanted children. "In light of these concerns," Vozkral announced, "the Oversight Committee proposes enhanced monitoring measures." A new hologram appeared showing a small device. Neural monitors will be installed on all human vessels and colonies to ensure compliance with technological restrictions. The chamber grew quiet. Even species hostile to humans seemed uncomfortable with this level of surveillance. "Neural monitors?" Elena asked, her voice dangerously calm. "You wish to monitor our thoughts?" "Not thoughts," Vozkral corrected hastily. "Only technological activities, for everyone's safety." Elena stood slowly. The human section of the chamber was small compared to ancient races with multiple representatives. Earth had just one voice here, but that voice would speak clearly. "For 7 years, humanity has respected your restrictions," she said. "We limited our expansion. We shared our advancements. We followed rules we had no part in creating." She looked around the chamber, making eye contact with as many representatives as possible. "And how have we been repaid? With suspicion, with condescension, with proposals to monitor our very thoughts." Vozkral tapped his resonant staff against the floor. "Commander Reyes, this is not the time." "It is exactly the time," Elena interrupted. "Earth hereby withdraws from the Galactic Conclave, effective immediately." The chamber erupted. Some representatives shouted questions or demands. Others sat in stunned silence. A few of the smaller, newer species actually cheered. Humanity joined the conclave hoping to be part of something greater, Elena continued, gathering her data tablets. We did not agree to become something lesser. She walked toward the exit, her steps measured and dignified. Behind her, Vozkral called for order as the conclave descended into chaos. Outside the chamber, Lieutenant Park waited, his eyes wide. Is it done? Elena nodded. Send the signal. All human ships are to withdraw from conclave space according to the Heimdall Protocol. As they walked toward the Earth Embassy, Elena felt something she hadn't experienced in years of diplomatic service. Freedom. Commander, Park said quietly, they never understood us, did they? No, Elena replied. They've only ever seen us as a problem to be managed. They restricted our growth because they feared our potential. Within hours, activity at the Earth Embassy reached frantic levels. Diplomatic staff packed essential items while deleting sensitive data from computer systems. Human civilians on the station were notified. Anyone wishing to return to Earth should prepare for immediate evacuation. Elena received an emergency communication from Admiral Chen, head of Earth's Defense Force. Commander, we've deployed the fleet according to Heimdall Protocol, he reported. How's the situation on the station? The news is spreading, Elena replied. I'm seeing the first signs of panic. Several alien businesses are already closing. Chen nodded. Similar reports from all major stations. The conclave always underestimated how deeply we've integrated into their economy. Elena began reviewing the list of human citizens registered on the station. Over 200 people, mostly engineers, medical specialists, and technicians. The station relies on human engineers to maintain their life support systems, she noted. What happens when our people leave? That's not our concern anymore, Chen answered. The conclave restricted our technology while happily using our expertise. They can't have it both ways. A notification appeared on Elena's screen. Vozkral was requesting an urgent meeting. They're already reaching out, she told Chen. Stick to the protocol, he advised. No negotiations, all official communication goes through Earth Command now. After ending the call, Elena walked to the large viewing window. More alien shops had closed. Security teams rushed past, heading toward the docking bays. For decades, the conclave had feared human potential. They created rules to keep humanity contained. Now they would see what happened when those rules no longer applied. The Earth transport ship Odyssey docked at the station. Soon it would carry her staff and any human citizens who wished to return home. They were leaving behind positions that would be hard to fill and systems that needed human expertise to maintain. The ripples of humanity's exit were just beginning. Soon, they would become waves. Ripple effect 3 months after humanity's withdrawal, Admiral Chen stood before the United Earth Defense Council, presenting the latest updates on the Heimdall Protocol. The chamber's lights dimmed as a holographic map of known space appeared, thousands of tiny blue dots moving across it. The recall is proceeding efficiently, Chen said, gesturing to streams of blue dots converging toward Earth's solar system. 95% of our vessels are now in Sol space, with the remaining 5% en route from deep exploration missions. The display shifted to show human colonies and outposts, only 36 in total. The conclave had severely limited human expansion. All colonial administrators have implemented Phase 2, Chen continued. Essential personnel have returned to Earth. The remaining staff will follow within 2 weeks. Director Sofia Rivera, head of Earth's civilian government, moved to the front of the room. Unlike Chen's military precision, Sofia carried herself with relaxed confidence, her silver-streaked hair framing a face known for its sharp intellect. We've been preparing for this possibility for years, she said. Phase 3 begins today. Accelerated development without conclave restrictions. She tapped her tablet, and the display changed to show Earth and the Sol system, with dozens of projects highlighted in various colors. The Heimdall Protocol redirects all resources previously committed to conclave projects, Sophia explained. Phase 3 focuses on technological sovereignty and advancement of previously forbidden research. What about economic impacts? Asked a council member. Many Earth businesses relied on alien trade. We've run the simulations, Sophia answered, displaying economic projections. After an initial 4-month downturn, the lines curved upward at a steep angle. Without conclave restrictions, our development pace will at minimum quadruple. Technologies that were forbidden to us are now being pursued openly. And the conclave's response? Asked another counselor. Chen stepped forward again. They're in crisis. Reports indicate widespread system failures across conclave space. Their economies are destabilizing. They've sent 6 diplomatic delegations requesting entry to Sol. We've denied them all. The Vanguard fleet is due to launch next week, added General Santos, head of the Space Force. First ships built entirely without conclave design restrictions. They're 50% more efficient and twice as fast as anything we previously fielded. What about the fringe defenses? Asked a naval officer. We provided 20% of the ships guarding against the Void Collective. That's the conclave's problem now, Chen replied. They pushed us out. They can handle their own security. Director Rivera frowned slightly. The Void Collective is a threat to all life, not just conclave space. True, Chen acknowledged, but Earth's security comes first. If the Collective becomes a direct threat to humanity, we'll respond accordingly. Will the conclave try to force us back? Asked a younger counselor. They lack the military capacity, General Santos said confidently. Their fleets have always relied on numbers rather than technological edge. Without our ships, they're spread thin. They'll offer concessions, Chen added. More autonomy, fewer restrictions, better position in their hierarchy. We're not going back, Sophia said firmly. Not as members, not under their rules. The room filled with murmurs as people discussed this new reality. For some, it was exciting. For others, frightening. Earth had stood alone before joining the conclave. Now it would stand alone again, but with greater knowledge of what lay beyond their solar system. What happens next is up to us, Sophia concluded. For the first time since we reached the stars, our potential is unlimited. Halfway across the galaxy, High Arbiter Vozkral presided over an emergency session of the Conclave Security Council. The usually immaculate chamber showed signs of disorder. Data tablets scattered haphazardly, empty food containers on tables, staff who clearly hadn't rested in days. The situation continues to deteriorate, reported Economics Minister Jextar, a stocky avian whose normally pristine plumage was ruffled and unkempt. 27 major trading hubs report critical system failures. Markets have fallen an average of 23% across conclave space. Vozkral's skin had faded to a pale blue-gray from stress. How long until stability can be restored? With current resources? Jexatar consulted his data. 8 to 12 months minimum. Unacceptable, hissed Security Director Krenva, her reptilian scales bristling. We cannot maintain defensive positions for that long. The Void Collective probes our borders daily. Without human military support, we're stretched dangerously thin. Has Earth responded to our diplomatic overtures? Vozkral asked. They refuse. All contact, answered Foreign Minister Pellon. Our ships aren't permitted to enter their system. All communications are redirected to automated responses. Counselor Ista, one of the few who had consistently advocated for better treatment of humans, rose from her seat. The elderly Primaran's crystalline exoskeleton glinted under the chamber lights. I warned this council for years, she said, her voice resonating with harmonic undertones. Humans are different. They don't think like us. When pushed, they don't. Bargain, they walk away. They need us, insisted Jextar. No species can survive in isolation. Can they not? Ista displayed a series of sensor readings on the main screen. Our long-range scans detect massive energy signatures from Sol system. They're building something big. Their development rate should have slowed without access to conclave technology, Krenva said, examining the readings with concern. You still don't understand, Ista replied. It was our restrictions holding them back, not our assistance. Humans advance through innovation, not gradual refinement like most species. Without our regulations, They're free to develop at their natural pace. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. What options do we have? Voskrál finally asked. Militarily? None, Krenva admitted. We cannot force them back, and attempting to do so would only accelerate our system's failures, as remaining humans would likely sabotage critical infrastructure before leaving. We must offer significant concessions, Pelon suggested. Perhaps a seat on the Inner Council, exemption from technology restrictions. Too late, Ista interrupted. Humans aren't interested in better terms. They're creating their own path. Now, on the main display, more station reports flowed in, each worse than the last. Systems failing, markets crashing, supply chains breaking down. The Conclave had always operated on slow deliberation and gradual change. Humans had injected speed and innovation into a system unprepared for either. Now their absence was creating a vacuum that the ancient government couldn't fill. New Equilibrium 6 months after humanity's exit, Commander Elena Reyes stood on the bridge of the UES Prometheus, Earth's newest flagship. Through the viewport, she could see dozens of similarly advanced vessels, the Vanguard fleet, humanity's first armada built without conclave restrictions. Impressive, isn't it? Admiral Chen said, joining her at the viewport. 6 months ago, these ships would have been considered illegal by conclave standards. Elena nodded. The Prometheus bore little resemblance to traditional human vessels. Its hull featured flowing lines and an iridescent blue-silver material that absorbed rather than reflected sensor scans. The ship's quantum drive had revolutionized space travel, allowing it to cover distances in hours that would have taken days with conclave-approved engines. Director Rivera is joining us by quantum link, Chen said. The conclave has sent another, diplomatic mission. This time we're letting them enter the system. Why now? Elena asked. We've rejected 6 previous attempts. We've intercepted concerning transmissions, Chen replied grimly. There's trouble at the fringe. In the Prometheus's conference room, a lifelike hologram of Director Rivera appeared as they entered. Moments later, the ship's quantum sensors detected an approaching vessel. Conclave diplomatic ship requesting permission to dock, reported. The communications officer. Granted, Chen replied, standard security protocols. When the Conclave representatives entered, Elena was surprised to see High Arbiter Voskrál himself, accompanied by Counselor Ista. The High Arbiter's normally imposing presence had diminished, his skin a dull gray, his posture slightly stooped. Director D. Rivera, Admiral Chen, Commander Reyes. Voskrál greeted them with a formal bow. The Conclave appreciates this opportunity to speak with Earth's leadership. Please state your purpose, Rivera said, her hologram showing no emotion. The situation has become critical, Voskrál explained. The Void Collective has broken through our defenses at multiple points along the fringe. 3 populated systems have already been lost. Chen displayed sensor data on the room's screens. Our monitoring stations confirm massive energy discharges, consistent with large-scale conflicts. Without human military support, our defensive lines cannot hold, Voskrál continued. The Conclave formally requests Earth's assistance. The Collective will reach Earth eventually, Ista added. This is a threat to all life, not just Conclave space. Rivera's hologram flickered slightly as she considered. What precisely are you asking for? Military intervention, Voskrál said. Your Vanguard fleet represents the most advanced military force in the galaxy. With your help, we might contain the Collective's advance. And in exchange? Chen asked. The Conclave is prepared to recognize Earth as a sovereign power, Voskrál replied, the words clearly difficult for him. Equal diplomatic status, no restrictions on human technology or expansion. Elena studied the High Arbiter's face. You're offering now what we asked for 7 years ago. Yes, he admitted. We were wrong to fear your potential. Now we need... Torsi Rivera's hologram turned to confer privately with Chen and Elena. Verification confirms the Void Collective has destroyed 3 systems, Chen said quietly. Estimated arrival at Earth in 8 months if unchecked. We have the technology to help, Elena pointed out. The quantum shield alone could protect civilian worlds. Not our problem, Chen argued. They pushed us away. If the collective reaches Earth, it becomes our problem, Rivera countered. She turned back to the Conclave representatives. Earth will provide military assistance to contain the Void Collective with conditions. Voskral's skin lightened slightly with relief. 1. Human forces operate independently, without Conclave oversight, Rivera stated. 2. We maintain complete control of our technology. 3. This is aid to all affected worlds, not a return to Conclave membership. The Conclave accepts these terms, Voskral agreed quickly. 2 weeks later, Elena stood on the Prometheus's bridge as the Vanguard fleet approached the fringe defensive line. What remained of the Conclave forces fought in scattered groups against a shifting darkness that seemed to devour light itself. The Void Collective, Elena murmured. It's worse than the reports indicated. Life signs on nearby worlds? Chen asked the science officer. Detecting approximately 2 million civilians on the 4 closest planets, she replied. Conclave evacuation is only 20% complete. Open a channel to all Conclave vessels, Chen ordered. When the communications officer nodded, he spoke clearly. This is Admiral Chen of Earth Defense Force. We are here to assist with evacuation and defense operations. A Conclave commander appeared on screen, his features showing surprise. Admiral Chen, we didn't expect. Your ships look different. We've made some improvements, Chen replied simply. Focus on evacuation. We'll handle the collective. The commander's eyes widened. With only 40 ships, we had hundreds. Different ships, Chen said, ending the transmission. He turned to his tactical officer. Deploy fleet in Aegis formation. Activate quantum link systems. Throughout the Vanguard fleet crew, members activated their neural interfaces. Unlike the monitoring devices the Conclave had proposed, these systems were designed by humans for humans, allowing instant communication and coordination between all personnel. Chen felt the link activate, connecting his mind to every officer in the fleet, not controlling them but working with them. In his mind, he could see the battle from 40 different perspectives simultaneously. Forward defense pattern, he ordered both verbally and through the quantum link. Focus energy on the central mass. The human ships moved with perfect coordination. No verbal commands needed, no delayed reactions. Through the quantum link, the entire fleet functioned like a single organism. Conclave observers watched in awe as the human vessels took positions around civilian evacuation routes. Their weapons were unlike anything seen before. Streams of blue energy that seemed to fold space itself, cutting through the collective's darkness. The Void responded, shifting its attack toward the human ships. It adapted quickly, dark tendrils, reaching out to encircle the Earth vessels. It's learning, Chen noted through the quantum link. Every officer in the fleet instantly understood the observation and its implications. Switching to pattern beta, came the collective response. Without a word spoken on any bridge, the human fleet changed formation. Ships moved to new positions, with a speed and precision impossible through conventional commands. A Conclave science vessel approached, scanning the human ships as they fought. They're analyzing our technology, reported the science officer. Let them look, Chen replied. They need to understand what they're dealing with. On the Conclave vessel, scientists stared in disbelief at their readings. The human ships were using quantum integration technology, strictly forbidden by Conclave law. Their weapons manipulated space-time in ways Conclave science had only theorized. And the neural link between crew members showed an integration of biology and technology that went against every Conclave restriction. The Void Collective surged forward again, adapting to the humans' pattern beta. Without hesitation, the fleet shifted to pattern gamma, continuing the battle with machine-like efficiency. They're communicating faster than should be possible, a Conclave observer noted with a mixture of awe and fear. It's as if they're a single entity. This isn't what we expected when they left the Conclave, another finished. 2 months after the Battle of the Fringe, Elena adjusted her formal suit as she prepared to address the newly formed Galactic Accord. The Grand Chamber had once been the exclusive domain of the Conclave, but now it served as neutral ground where many species could meet as equals. Elena took a moment to reflect on how much had changed. Humanity had pushed the Void Collective back beyond the fringe, saving countless lives across Conclave space. The victory had come at a cost. 5 human ships lost, their crews making the ultimate sacrifice. But it had changed the balance of power throughout the galaxy. "They're ready for you, Commander," said Lieutenant Park. Elena nodded and entered the chamber. Unlike the old Conclave sessions, the new Accord had no raised platform for leadership. All representatives sat at the same level in a circular arrangement. The message was clear. No species stood above others. Hundreds of representatives from various worlds watched as Elena took her position. She recognized many faces from the old Conclave, including Vozkral and Counselor Ista. Many others were new species that had never qualified for Conclave membership under the old rules. "Representatives of the Galactic Accord," Elena began, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber. 7 months ago, humanity left the Galactic Conclave. Today I stand before you not as a returning member, but as Earth's sovereign representative. Murmurs spread through the crowd. The term sovereign had never been used in Conclave space before. It signified something new, a power that recognized no higher authority. "Humanity will defend our interests and maintain open trade with peaceful civilizations," Elena continued. "We will share certain technologies with those who demonstrate responsible use, but we will never again allow others to dictate our development or potential." Vozkral shifted uncomfortably in his seat. The old order was changing before his eyes. The Battle of the Fringe demonstrated what cooperation between different species can accomplish, Elena said. But it also showed that artificial restrictions on technology and development serve no one. The very innovations the Conclave forbade were what saved countless lives. Elena activated the display system, showing images of new human innovations that were now being carefully shared with allied species. Medical technology that could extend lifespans, energy systems that didn't, deplete planetary resources, transportation methods that made the galaxy seem smaller. Earth proposes a new relationship between species, Elena explained. Not one of rulers and ruled, but of sovereign powers who choose to work together when it benefits all. The Galactic Accord can serve as a forum for this cooperation. Counselor Ista stood, requesting recognition. When Elena nodded to her, she spoke. "The Primorans support this vision. We too have felt restricted by old thinking. Perhaps it took humanity's departure to show us a better way." More representatives voiced their support. Not all. Some of the older species like the Tsoll remained silent, but enough to show that the galaxy was changing. After the session ended, Vozkral approached Elena in the hallway outside the chamber. "Your people have achieved in months what most species require centuries to develop," the High Arbiter said quietly. "You must understand why this frightens many of us." Elena nodded. "Fear is natural when facing the unknown, but trying to contain what you fear only makes it more dangerous when it inevitably breaks free. And what assurance do we have that humans won't use their power to dominate others as so many species have tried before?" Vozkral asked. "None," Elena replied honestly. "Except our actions. Judge us by what we do, not by what you fear we might do." As Elena left the Accord building, she looked up at the stars visible through the station's clear dome. Humanity had achieved something remarkable. Not just technological advancement, but a new place in the galaxy, one they had defined for themselves. Throughout Conclave space, the old order was giving way to new possibilities. Species that had been denied a voice were now being heard. Technologies that had been suppressed were being carefully explored. A more balanced galaxy was emerging from the chaos of humanity's exit. Earth had never needed the Conclave's approval. They had only needed the freedom to chart their own course among the stars. In finding that freedom, they had changed not just their own future, but the future of all intelligent life in the galaxy. The Galactic Accord would face challenges, the Void Collective remained a threat, and some species resisted the new order, but For the first time, the galaxy's diverse civilizations would face those challenges as equals, not as rulers and subjects, and humanity would lead the way, not through domination, but through innovation and cooperation, proving that sometimes the greatest strength lies not in control but in freedom.